Details, soundstage, technical performance, do DACs and amps matter? Do cable matter? Does burn-in matter? All of these questions are answered today. Hey friends, welcome back to another video on Giz Audio, and today I have a list of around 17 questions or so, all curated by some people in the community and also some questions from you guys over the past few months as well. And it's gonna be answering mostly about technical performance and the nerdier aspects of the hobby. So strap in, there'll be some hot takes in here for sure, and I'm sure I'm gonna be offending some people. So basically, this question has been a question that pretty much every reviewer has thought about at some point. For me personally, I am not quite sure. I am leaning it towards being mostly frequency response because I do notice that IEMs with better treble tend to also have better resolution and perceived details, better note definition than say a really dark IEM. But I am not yet 100% sure, and a lot more testing needs to be done, which I am doing right now, by the way. I'm trying to find an answer on what is exactly technical performance. So maybe in the future, I'll update you guys. Sound outside your head, or the out-of-head experience in IEMs, is that possible? For me, logically, it's not possible because IEMs are right here, right? They're playing directly into your ear. So any perceived air that you get is all from tuning. If tuning allows for a spacious style of sound signature or a lot of air, then you'll feel a lot of air, but it is physically impossible to get an out of your head experience. It's more like you feel like it is, but in reality it's really not. But that doesn't mean that an IEM can't feel spacious, like I said, with tuning, but it's not really outside of your head. This is similar to the last topic, but this is more focused on the vertical imaging. So for example, if music was recorded with like the violin sitting on top of the singer, can you hear that in your IEMs per se? And for me, from experience, I say no. I wasn't able to discern that, you know, each instrument is like the person is sitting higher than each other or lower than each other. If you can, let me know in the comment section below which IEM you use, what song it was, because I want to experience it myself if that exists. But for me personally, from everything that I've listened to, I've never heard it myself. Oh, hot topic in the community. If you grab good DACs and amps that measures well, then no, it does not make a difference. From my experience, I was never able to tell that. And I tell you guys all the time, you guys know this philosophy has been going on this channel for a while, is that I always tell you guys to buy the IEMs first and only focus on finding your favorite IEMs, and everything else comes secondary. Cable comes secondary, DAC and amps come secondary. Focus on finding your perfect IEM and then worry about all the other accessories. Do burn-in matters? Oh man, another fiery question. Burn-in doesn't matter. It doesn't. And it doesn't for some really simple reason. So burn-in is supposed to be as you use an equipment, right? Things or small pieces in the IEMs like move around or whatnot. And burn-in is supposed to do that for you, and somehow, some magical way, that's supposed to give you better sound quality. But for me, that's kind of a load of crap, because all the arguments for burn-in is always on the positive side. Like burn-in is always good, but never bad. Like somehow putting wear and tear on your IEMs always improve the sound quality and never is a detriment to the sound quality. Yeah, no, I don't believe in burn-in. So to answer this question requires me to explain a little bit about how my ranking list works. Now, as you can see, at B- you need 3 to 4 points. At B+, where the Alpha Performer 5 is, you need 7 points. And at S-, where the Diva is, you need 11 points. So the point difference from B- to B+ and B+ to S- are the same. What this is supposed to represent is that as you get to the higher tier IEMs, it's harder and harder to make improvements, and your return on investment is less and less as you go up as well, because you get less improvement for dollar the higher you go up. And this ranking list kind of represents that, because at B+, I would say a B+ IEM is already kind of end game for some people out there. At A minus, A plus, S minus, those are just incremental improvements along the way. And the S minus IEMs are the IEMs that I deem to have the least amount of flaws in terms of, my own criterias, of course. One other thing to clear up is that an IEM does not need to meet my target in order to sound good. That's just my personal preference. And on that note, I should be changing my target any day soon here. That target is really old and my taste has changed a little bit. So to answer the question why Performer 5 is B plus and Diva is S minus, I would say that the Performer 5 still has this little bit of kind of congested feeling from how it's tuned versus the Diva where everything sounds much more open and spacious. Do cables affect sound quality or, have a change in the sound? So let me answer this fully now. That's not in the context of the cable video I did yesterday. So for me, cable do make a difference in sound, but very minor. I don't feel a huge change in sound, and notice I use change and not improvement because it is just that. It is a change at most, not an improvement. In my previous cable video, I was more going against the marketing terms that most brands tend to use, like use this cable, you get deeper bass, you get richer mids, you get airier highs and more details and wider soundstage. I was more going against all of those because I don't believe in any of those. Cables might change the sound of your IEM slightly by like 1 dB, 2 dB, but as I outlined in the previous video, a change of 1 to 2 dB doesn't really matter because most people struggle to notice channel imbalances of 1 to even 3 dB. So minor changes in cable is not really gonna affect your overall sound experience or improve your IEMs in any ways at all. And if it does make enough changes, it's not gonna be a significant one to warrant you spending like $3, $4, $5, $1,000, $2,000. Buy cables for only two reasons. One, if your old cable sucks, like it makes sounds, it has microphonics, or it's just uncomfortable, yeah, replace that cable. And two, if you like the aesthetics of it, or if it has good utility, buy cables for those reasons, not for sound reason. For sound reason, buy IEMs, just get better IEMs. The next parts are strings of very, very, very nerdy level questions. I'm just gonna rapid fire. This one I have no clue. My educated guess would be 200 because that's where a good crossover for IEM bass shelf is. So I'm gonna guess 200, but the real answer is here. This one I really didn't know the answer to as well, but after researching, I found out it is Mr. Floyd Toole, yeah. So minimum phase behavior, I'm not gonna pretend I'm an expert in this field to explain to you guys the exact wording and science behind it, but from what I know is that IEMs are minimum phase and some headphones are minimum phase, but most are not minimum phase. In terms of what minimum phase actually means, I kind of loosely know, but I don't want to give false information, so I'll leave a link to some resources down below. I didn't know this one before, but now I do, and the answer is true. So let's explain it. What is masking? So for example, you have a peak at 6K. So a peak at 6K is gonna mask some of the frequencies around it, but it's gonna mask more so what's in front of it, so the 7K, 8K, rather than what's behind it, like the 5K, 4K region. This one I have absolutely no clue as I don't study speakers, but if anyone can answer this question for this guy, leave a comment down below. I'm sure he appreciates the answer. This one I read somewhere before, but I don't remember what the answer is, but I also don't think any of that matters in regards to your own personal preference. When I got this question, I have to be honest, I have no clue what the hell they were talking about. But after researching, I found out the number, but I gotta be honest again, I forgot before I filmed this video. I think it's like 0.9 something, I'll put it right here. Similar answer to the previous one, I'm gonna leave resources to this topic down below because I am by no means an expert, especially in this area. There are levels in this hobby. A lot of people, including myself, are in the hobby stage or slightly above hobby stage, and there are the scientific audio engineer groups that are like way up there. I'm not quite up there in the audio engineering world of things yet, but maybe someday I study enough to start to know what all goes on in headphones and IEMs and speakers, because that's something that personally interests me. So this is the last question of the video. So the reason I use the IEF target is because it's practical. You guys are used to it. I'm used to it. I looked at it a lot myself growing up into the hobby. And also I kind of like that the base side of the target is flat because I can see the base curve kind of really clearly. And for me, I like that more than having something there. I don't know why, that's just my personal liking. But yeah, that's the reason I use the IEF target. All right, that is it for this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I might do a second edition of this, so leave your technical related questions down in the comment section below. I actually really like this because I discover new topics that I should be studying in this hobby, and that's always interesting. So yeah, leave more technical questions in the description below and I'll maybe do a version 2 down the line. And before I go, I'd like to thank my Patreon subscriber. Of course, thank you to Kai, Chadwick, Suni Roll, Norm, and Mason. Thank you guys so much for believing in the channel. If you guys want to support the channel yourself, link to Patreon is below, some cool perks there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, bye.